everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Simple answer to complex questions. That is our goal, to create and provide the simplest answer to the complex question that we all might face on a daily basis. In the last episode, we focus on ways to overcome obstacles to be happy. And we focus on how we're going to feel good, how we're going to be able to create a happiness moment by moment of our life, because that's one of the puzzling point that we all are facing, and that's the goal of life, that's the purpose of life. And then we attempted to at least create a simple answer to that complex question. And of course, we continue on that episode, the last episode, and we created a broader perspective of happiness and joy, which focuses, it mostly is on fundamentals. What are the things that we should do fundamentally to be able to be happy? And for that reason, I focus on quantum physics thinking, and that is a thinking that based on universal principles. There are a lot of principles from all different sources that everybody is trying to explain and give us the answer, which is all good. So I thought in order to have the much more stable ground to find those principles that we can all rely on it, and hopefully we can agree on those principles, we call it quantum physics principles. Those principles, for example, law of the probability or law of the relativity, and law of the, of course, unity and integration. Those are the laws that we can rely on it, and of course, or infinite possibilities. We can rely on those principles and apply it in everyday life. And so from that point, we expanded our thinking to freedom of thinking, from quantum physics thinking. If we apply those principles on a day by day, hour by hour, we're going to be going to achieve that freedom of thinking, which is really ultimate goal of life. And from the, of course, freedom of thinking, if you attach that freedom of thinking to spiritual thinking, then of course the calmness, compassion, care for us and for others will come to the existence in our daily life. And today we're going to focus on another wonderful topic, a new vision, creating a balanced lifestyle. We all really need to focus on what we need to do in everyday life that we're living on this planet to be balanced. Balancing is the essence of human existence. It's so important. If the system that we are operating under, that system, is not balanced, if it's not integrated, if it's not together, then definitely that system is not going to function properly. Look at a human body. As they told us, scientists, approximately we have 57 trillion cells in our body. Every cell in our body, they're functioning independently, selflessly, and they're just doing what they need to do to create a balance in our body, which is ultimately being healthy. Our health is solely depend on the function of every cell in our body. And of course, every cell is interrelated, interdependent, and they are kind of helping each other to create a unity and oneness within the body, which ultimately is going to give us that healthy body. And look at our everyday life. Every situation that we are facing, we are looking for an answer. If there is any puzzling situation we are facing, continuously we try to be focused and find answer. Why we're looking for the answer? Because we are feeling imbalance. There is some kind of an imbalance in our body and mind and daily life activities that we want to balance it. And that's the reason that we go to all kinds of sources and resources to find answer. Those of us that we are really broad-based in our thinking, We don't focus on one source or limited sources. We expand our vision and go to many, many sources that we can go to and we can access to find answer. And of course, when we find answer and resolve that conflict, then we're going to feel calm. We're going to start being much more relaxed. Of course, the way life is designed, we're going to have other complexity and other puzzling point, other decisions that we have to make. And yes, we're going to continue searching for the answer. And the whole essence of it is that we feel imbalance and we want to create balance. And as soon as we create a balance, we feel comfortable, we feel peaceful, and ultimately, yes, we feel happy. Many sources, psychologists, spiritual leaders, biologists, physicians, scientists of all kinds, absolutely, yes, religion, they're attempted to help us to find that balancing in our life. Of course, one of the major theme of discussion that a lot of people use to teach us how to be balanced, they are advocating unity and oneness and balancing between body and mind and spirit, which is very common. And yes, that's the truth of the matter, that we should create a balance between our body, our mind, our thinking, of course, and our spirit. So with that, it means that they are really teaching us how to be integrated, how to be unified from the within. But then, of course, we want to take it to the higher level. We want to take it to the level that it's going to give us the fundamentals. If we understand, and that teaching is teaching us something really wonderful, that we need to integrate our body and mind and soul. So what is it that we need to do on a daily basis? So the question is that in order to create a balance in our life, why? Yes, we want to look for the answer for the puzzling question that we might have on our mind in our daily life, but definitely why we want to have the balance. Because balancing, by end of the day, when we create that balancing in our life, it makes us feel good. Imbalance makes us anxious, worried, and all of that combination of negative feelings that we can feel. When we create a balance, we're going to be in peace. We're going to feel good. And that's the kind of one notion that I want to read it to you. It so kind of makes sense to me. More balance I feel, more free I feel. More balance I feel, more free I feel. And that's an amazing statement. We need to think about that. More balance I feel, more free I feel. It means that freedom of thinking and being free, which is, gives us that sense of flow like a river, as I talked about it before. In that sense, it's just ultimate sense that we are searching and looking in a natural way, of course. When we balance our mind and body and spirit and all those things that we need to balance it, and could be any little question that is on our mind, when we find answer for it, then we feel good, and definitely we feel free. So those are the things that we need to really use it as a motivation and a high burning desire that please do not go on with the imbalances. One of the major reasons that we are unhappy, or we are pretty much occupied with the negative thinking on a daily basis, is because those imbalances that we've been feeling and sensing, we're not paying attention to it. It could be physical imbalance. If you have a pain and ache or some kind of a feeling that that something is not functioning properly inside of your body, don't say, I don't want to go to the doctor, or I don't want to look at it or check it out. Just go ahead and do it. Don't wait. If you feel sad and depressed and anxious or any of those feelings or puzzle about something that is on your mind, about relationship, about your job, about even your own self, about the weight that you want to lose or weight that you want to gain, or anything that you want to change in your daily life, and been on your mind, sometimes for months, for years. And that's the imbalance. Those are the imbalances. Those imbalances are the ones that bring us down, lower our energy. If this is one of the major problems that we are facing in a time that we're living on this wonderful planet, that we have low energy, or people complaining, generally speaking, people complaining about low energy all the time. They think in the morning they're not feel good, in the middle of the day they're sluggish, in the afternoon they need definitely coffee or tea or some other supposedly caffeine based drink to make them feel better. Definitely because I have a feeling that they're not energetic, they're not dynamic, they're not the way they want to feel. And so we know that all of us, we can relate and connect to that. Low energy or not feeling energetic and dynamic is one of the major issues that we face it, we sense it, we feel it every moment. And of course, there are so many suggestions, so many advices from all different kind of sources. And I'm saying that a lot of them are good. But I think if we don't go to the fundamentals of how we can change the dynamic within our thinking and mind and body and spirit, it's going to be harder to create that balance. So that's the reason that we want to definitely focus on those principles. I'm going to outline those principles that you can, connect to it, relate to those principles as the fundamentals that we need to use it day by day every time we feel something is not right, or we're feeling imbalanced or out of balance. So one of those principles is very, very common. You heard it probably many times. Self-awareness, consciousness, stay focused, be in touch with yourself. We should admit that a lot of us, we are not in touch with ourselves on a daily basis. We live in, we call it in a subconscious mind. Unconscious, of course, is a powerful tool and powerful entity that is guiding our life 90% of the time. We call it daydreaming. We go through that daydreaming and we're thinking about something that is imbalanced and we're processing it. But we really don't focus on it to find answer for it. And yes, I believe, and I say it many times, the answer will come to you. If you continue searching, the answer will come to you. But the search, it should be conscious. It should be with a high level of self-awareness. Be in touch with yourself. As I said many times, hour by hour. That's the reason that the power of meditation becomes so important. And I know that meditation, it seems like a little complicated sometimes to some of us, which is not. Yes, if you want to follow the rules of the meditation, it's going to take maybe quite a time and learning and teaching and practicing. But I would say that every hour. Close your eyes for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever time that you can find. And reflect. What is going on with me? Go through your thinking. Go through your emotion. Even be in touch with your body. And sense your body. Feel your body. And really find the imbalances. You will find them. They're there. That's the reason we don't feel good sometimes. We make it, or we fake it. But that's not really the way we want to do it. We want to have a natural feeling, and for that reason, and in order to achieve that natural feeling, be in touch with your body and mind, and your thinking and your emotion. So self-awareness is so, so important. And that's something that is easy. You don't have to read 100 books to achieve that. It's inside of you. You have access to it any minute. And it's something that you don't have to get all those wonderful training. Of course, any training would be good for anything that we want to accomplish or learn. But this one, you can't do it. Just have the self-awareness. Absolutely, that's going to help you a lot. Another principle that I want to outline for you is the law of the exploration. We want to really have that power of exploration. The way our life is designed, everything is about, of course, searching and looking for what we are looking for, or what we want to really find to balance our life. We use our IQ and our EQ. We send that frequencies out, and our brain and all the entity that we have access to help us to search. Here's a kind of a puzzling situation. Sometimes our search become limited. Sometimes our search become low level. We are not persistent. We are not consistent. What I'm suggesting is that, number one, believe in power of exploration. All these wonderful scientists that we have throughout the history, and now, of course, we have so many of them, thankfully. All those inventions and wonderful things that created for our comfort on this planet, it's simply because of the power of exploration. They've been persistent, consistent, and focus. Following power of exploration is power of concentration. We see amazing things that people do in a sport, in science, in politics, in religion, in academic setting, achieving higher level degree and achieving unbelievable things that sometimes is amazing to each one of us. How they do it, how they did it. Self-awareness, power of exploration, and power of concentration. Focus. A lot of time we are not focused. That's the reason some people, they have trouble meditating. And I hear it all the time. They say, I cannot focus. My mind is racing. When I sit there for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, my mind is wandering. So we need to practice on that, to concentrate, to focus. And people, take all these remedies, or sometimes medications of all kind, to focus, to improve the power of, focused mind. No dispute about any of that. But I think naturally, if we practice, our brain has the power. We have all the tools to focus. It's just the power of intention. You put that intention into that, journey that you can take. So that's going to be another wonderful way that when we are self-aware, when we have the power of exploration, when we have power of concentration, then we can be in touch with imbalances that we feel in body and mind and spirit, and we can find it much, much quicker. So that's one of those major things that I want to outline it as a foundation. Law of the connections. Law of the connection is such an important law that we all definitely live with it, know about it. Everything is connected, everything is related, everything is interrelated and interconnected. That's something that's been proven, of course, to all of us. But again, because of the fear that we have, or insecurity that it's kind of umbrella over the fear and all those egoistic thinking that we have, then we have the tendency when we are facing difficulties, use separation. And we talk about separation many times as a really enemy to us. But imagine, look into your own life, look into your own style of dealing with things. How much of a separation do you use when you're facing something difficult, especially in relationship with other people? But if we come to that notion of understanding that everything is connected, everything is interrelated, everything is entangled, then we know that any little imbalance that we feel and sense in our body will affect our soul and mind and thinking and emotions, and definitely, yes, it's going to affect other people. It's all related. It's all connected. And that common sense, we ignore it every day. We know it. There's nothing magical about it. We learn it in school, and we feel it and sense it in everyday life. But again, I want you to please put it to work for you. Have that self-awareness and know the power of connection. Right next to that power of connection, of course, is that's applying systematic thinking. Everything it's operating based on a system. You pick up any entity and you see that there's a system to it. Even the smallest particle, even the smallest cell in our body, they have the system, of course. We know that. They're operating based on a system. Our body functioning as a whole, functioning as a very complicated, sophisticated, wonderful, amazing system. When you believe in that systematic way of thinking, everything is functioning based on a system, and then you come to that understanding easily that a system has parts. When we call it system, it means it consists of many parts. And each part should function independently and selflessly in order to make the whole system function properly. So that's the reason when you have issues and problems, for example, in a relationship, you look at yourself. You're part of the system. A relationship is a system. A family is a system. A company, agency, any group setting, anything that we can call it, a system has parts. And those parts should function properly. So in order to really make the field sense system function the way it should function, is intended to function the way it should be functioned, then we need to go to every part and look into those parts. Don't look at the other part, somebody else's part. Look at your own part. And that's what we normally do. Instead of looking into my own part, what I'm contributing, or what I'm malfunctioning or not functioning properly in this system, I'm looking at other people's parts. And that's the reason that we blame other people. If we just change that notion and look at your own part, and look at every system, and if they're not functioning properly, look at each part of that system, and definitely when you fix that issues within that part, the whole system function properly again. Yes, I know that it's not as simple, but it's possible. 100% is possible. We can do it. We did it. That's the way this wonderful, wonderful human society is functioning. Look at this coronavirus, this pandemic that we are facing. The planet Earth, human society as a whole is facing that difficulties. Look at how systematic we are working to lower the threat and hopefully create the health and security and certainty that we are missing. But every agency, every entity, every individual, now we're coming down to really individual. Every individual should be responsible to follow the protocol, follow the guidelines, follow the guidance. And if they do that, if we all do that as an individual, as a person, as a part of the system, as a part of society, just like before, any threat, it will go away. It will settle down. So those are the wonderful thinking that you can apply to your body, to your mind, to your spirit, and to all combination of things that we are dealing on a daily basis. So I want to go ahead and maybe outline a couple more principles, and we move on. Law of the unity, yes. As we discuss connections, law of the connections, systematic thinking, then law of the unity makes sense. If everything is working as a system, then in order that system function properly, it has to be unified, has to be again integrated and unified. Unity and oneness is so important in order to achieve that balancing in our life. Continue being focused and continue being in a constant connection to your source. We are part of field of energy, or we are part of the entity as we call God, which, as we said it before, they all really are the same concept. But the main thing is that connect to that source. Whatever way that look at that source, connect to it, relate to it. Keep your connection, minute by minute, second by second. Don't separate yourself from the source. Be consistent and be persistent. That's another, important principle. Consistency and persistency. When we find the imbalance, those of us that we're going to change the imbalance to balance, we have to go through all those principles, yes, and then again, in order to really work it out, we need to be persistent and we need to be consistent. That's the way we can build that new lifestyle. When you have that new lifestyle that is governed and is guided by those principles, you're in charge, you're focused, you know that each system are interrelated and interconnected. So you're not going to ignore any imbalances. When you see some kind of imbalance in your relationship or in your family dynamics, don't continue. Oh, everybody is a problem. Well, because everybody is not looking at their imbalances the way they should be looking at it. They feel it, they sense it, that's the reason they're sad, that's the reason they're not happy. But we see, well, everybody has problem. Look like, okay, everybody has problems, so if I have a problem, that is okay. Isn't it true that the goal of life to be dynamic and proactive and happy and cheerful and enjoy the moment, and life is gonna be gone, and all the things that we said and the posts that we publishing on different social medias? But in truth of the matter, in reality of it, is that you be the one to do it. You be the one to follow that rule and guidelines. No. This is for other people. This is not for me. And that's makes things complicated. Take the ownership, be responsible, create a balance. And again, everything is started with the part, which we are the part of the system. And if we can look into our own self and balance our imbalances, common sense, the whole system is going to function much better. So let's kind of use that notion of changing the lifestyle, creating a balanced lifestyle as a vision to guide us. There's so many other ways that we can use it as a vision, and we're going to continue talking about those visions. But a purposeful life, a dynamic life that we're all seeking, we all intended to have that type of a life in the way that we live in our life, is to creating a balanced lifestyle. There are so many details that we can cover: how to eat and how to meditate, and what kind of a thinking you should have. And yes, don't work too hard. Spend time with with loved ones, and go to gym and work out and eat good. All those things, yes, they are part of the balancing. Take your personal time, have some personal times, and don't just avoid the people who are negative. Uh, don't let the negative people enter to your life. Have boundaries. Perfect. But if you don't use those principles, those quantum physics principles, and those universal principles as we outline it, creating a long-lasting lifestyle become much more difficult. I know we can do it. We're going to do it together. And I'm, again, thankful, grateful for you to be part of this journey that we are taking. And you welcome you back. I definitely welcome you back. And have a wonderful day. Thank you. And